Hi, welcome to Friday Sews. I'm Carole. This is my channel, Sew Carole. Hashtag Friday Sews, as we all know, was created over 2 years ago, I think now, by Jen from Today in Jen's Sewing Room. So don't forget to check out all the other YouTubers and the contributors to Friday Sews. I just love looking and see what everybody else has done or what they haven't done or just what's gone on in their lives. It's really great. Anyway, why I'm here in this cluttered sewing room of mine is to show you the new addition to the family, because a few of you actually, when I said I was buying a cover stitch machine, a few of you sort of expressed an interest in it. Now, it's something that you certainly don't need. I have gone by for years using just the twin needle on my sewing machine. But it was when I was doing all those Disney t-shirts that I thought maybe I just need something a bit more professional now, because I do so much jersey, do so many t-shirts and t-shirt tops and things. So I had a bit of money that I'd been saving for a long time, and so I thought I'd treat myself. So I got the Baby Lock cover stitch. Now we've had some fun this week, I have to say. Threading was fine. I got the hang of threading. I thought I did a first run on a bit of fabric, and it wasn't great. And then there's so many things that I didn't realise. Where I'm sat at this level, I didn't realise there were holes here, for example, where the thread had to go through. It was only when I peered over the top that I could see that. So all the tension was always wrong. So although it's really clear, you've got green to green and it tells you where to go, I missed those holes along the top there. So that was my first problem. And then the first thread I used was black. So when I threaded it, of course, it then goes through into here, and I could not see the black against the black to find out where it came out. So eventually got the hang of that. I started off using the 3 needles, but then I realised actually for most things that I'm making, certainly for the little things, 3 needle is just too much. So I wanted to do the 2 needle. So I thought, okay, I looked in the guide how to remove one of the needles. Fine, it said use the tools that it comes with. Could I find the tools? No. I went through the box, and the only thing I could find was this. This was, it had a big screwdriver, but you needed like a tiny thing to get the needle out. So stuff in there. And it kept on saying how all these things that you should have with the machine. I thought they obviously not put them in the box, but I thought, no, Baby Lock's a good company. They must have done something. So I went back to the guide, and then it says you look in the accessory tray. Well, like sewing machine, I'm looking everywhere. Couldn't find anything. And then I saw it's actually under here is where all the accessories are. I had no idea. And the funny thing is, it's also on my serger as well. So I've had my serger over a year, and I had never realised that compartment actually contains all the tools I need as well. There you go. Such an amateur, honestly. I should read the brochure thoroughly. Anyway, I think we're doing all right now. I think I understand it a bit more, and I've certainly used it. So going forward, I think we're going to have some fun. I think it's going to be a good addition. Right, now I'm going to move the camera so I can show you some of the things that I've made this week. Now, one of the things that I was going to make this week was this top for my daughter. Now, I had some black viscose jersey and this was like chiffon with gold dots. And I did make it up for my daughter. But the sad thing is she doesn't really like it. I didn't completely finish it because I thought I might have to tweak it a bit. But it does look exactly the same as that, but she's not happy with it. And this is it. Now, she only tried it on quickly before she went away. I mean, it looks like that. She likes the idea of it, but actually on her, she's not keen. The sleeves, I thought, came out really nicely. Hadn't quite finished the bottom, and because I didn't know if it was going to be too long or whatever. But there's something wrong with this and we can't work it out. It's also quite dropped sleeve on here. It's quite a tank on her. Now I can't try it on because it is a couple of sizes larger than me and it drowns me a bit. So we're not sure. So when she gets back from holiday, we're going to have another look at it. But we just think it's just too much black here or something, or this is too long, or certainly as just a t-shirt, I think that works quite well. It's just, there's something about it, but we can't work it out. Let's go on to the positive things I made this week. I finished the costume. Now, so I showed you the jogging set, the trousers last week, and that was these. Now I'm going to have to put a picture of what I was trying to recreate. Otherwise, if you haven't seen that already, you have no idea what I was trying to do. So those were the trousers. Now, I talked about embroidering the dragon. I had to change tack on what I was doing completely. I started off embroidering that dragon. So I traced it, I didn't trace it on, I just drew it on a bit of pattern paper and then sort of put it on some stick and stitch stuff, which turned out to be useless to me. And I did that dragon. That dragon took me 3 hours. So I then realized that to do the whole dragon was going to take me another 7 hours of hand sewing because I haven't got an embroidery machine. I just had to do it by hand. And I also realised that the stuff when you pull away from hand sewing, if it was machine sewing, it probably worked better, but hand sewing, it just kept ripping the. So I thought, no. So that was the design that was on his home toy. What I then thought, okay, let's go back to the proper Lego character and see what he's wearing and try and work the two together. So that's what I did. So this is what we've ended up with it. Now, this took a long time because these are all sewn on applique patches of felt. But what it has done, it meant that I can use the bit of the dragon and his arm there, but just hide it behind this, whatever it is. These are meant to be 2 daggers there, and this dragon creature, and these are meant to be some kind of bullety things, I think. Anyway, that's what we've ended up with. I'll put a picture. He has tried it on and it fits and he loves it. So I'll put a picture up. All I did on the back was just continue one of the stripes. So I was really pleased with it. It did take me a long time. I did enjoy doing it and trying to work out how on earth to do it. I didn't glue all the patches down because I just didn't want the risk of them falling off, so which is why I sewed everything down. But it did take a long time. After I'd done that, I actually felt really, really guilty for Charlie, the little one, because I hadn't made him anything. And originally I thought, okay, well, I'll make Ollie something this year, Charlie something next year. But then I just felt so guilty. So I used the same pattern. So this was the pattern. That's the one. So I just made the basic hoodie for the ninja costume. But I'd never done this before. I think I said about that last week. So I thought, why don't I? I don't have to think about it. It's got all the pieces to it. I can just make it up. So that's actually what I did. So my daughter hasn't seen this yet, but which is this lovely lime green, and he's got sort of a ghoulishy, monstery face on the front and on the leggies, and it's got these spikes on the hood. Now that I used fusible fleece for that because it just said interfacing, and I don't know, I just thought that would give it a bit more stability. So the only thing about that is just that bit there. It annoys me that it doesn't stand up properly, but I think I'm just being pedantic on that. So yeah, so when she gets back, he will have his little costume too. So that was a lot of applique this week because each of those is sewn on as well. A couple of bits were hand sewn on and some were machine sewn on. So I'll be glad to go back to doing something simple. Now onto the poncho. Now this Trish from Pinky's Farm, I think I mentioned it, she had made one and I absolutely loved it. So I wanted to give it a go. This was the McCalls 8241. and I ended up making this version here, which is version C. It's a long version, you've got the tassels on the bottom. I'll insert a clip here with me wearing it. Okay, so it's time like these I really wish I had a Stetson, because that's really what I feel I should be wearing right now. But here it is. It is so comfy to wear, made out of like a ponte. It's got a different colour inside. I didn't do anything with the neck because I was warned to make it a bit shorter, but actually it kind of flops over, so that doesn't make it look too bad. It's basically a square. I love these sleeves, so it comes down to there, but you've got this bit of a sleeve. It feels amazing. It feels like you want to swoop round. What I do feel like is I feel like a bat, and my husband about 18 months ago had a bit of an incident with a bat when he was out cycling in the dark. Funny story, very long story, but yeah, so he's not too keen on bats anyway. So when I swooped into his office wearing this, anyway, length, yeah, maybe a little bit too long on me, but the back hangs a bit, but it is what it is, and it is so cozy. I'm really pleased with it. Thank you very much, Trish, for recommending it. I might make another, I have to say, when I've got over the fact of sewing this thick fabric. Oh, about the tassels, I did make them. It was Trish dared me to, actually, because I said jokingly I was going to make one. So she dared me to, but to be honest, I love working with wool. I love working anything like that, just working out how to do them. I just love doing, and I did it with two. I didn't have this colour wool. In fact, these aren't perfect anyway, but I just did it with two different colour wools and just made them. So thank you very much. I love wearing this. As you can say, I love it. I love it. The only thing I would say, and I have been warned, is it's very oversized. Now, I made an extra small. I'm not an extra small. I normally a small in some things, but it is huge. My husband saw me in it, and he was just, well, first of all, he said, "Oh, I didn't know those were back in fashion." Well, I've since been told by my mum that yes, they are in fashion. So I said, "Go on, you try it." So here's a picture of him. He tried it because I said, "It's cozy, isn't it?" He said, "Yeah, it is cozy." So he's much bigger than me, obviously, being a man, and I'm only 5'2". He's 5'9". So yeah, it fits him as well. So definitely go small when you use this pattern. But as you can see, it's there, and I really love it. Only problem being is the fact it is still summer temperatures, English summer temperatures out there. So we're nowhere near able to wear it yet. And in the long-term forecast is going to be the same. So talking about weather, as my family and my daughter, you know, they're in Disneyland Paris at the moment, and the temperatures are there are so warm. It's like the photos are like they're in Florida. Now, when I was making those Disney tops for them, I was so worried about using that cotton jersey, thinking that they were going to be too cold, they're going to have jumpers on top. And the reality has been that it's too warm for them to wear, my daughter to wear her long sleeve top, and for my grandsons to wear their hoodies. I can't believe it. So unless the temperature drops down, I don't think they'll be wearing them. Something else I did this week, actually, and I'll put a little bit of filming here, is I took a little trip out. Well, I've gone on a day trip and I've come to the Dorset scrap store. It's about half an hour away from me. It's a funny place where companies and businesses offload sort of scraps of plastic, fabric, people donate stuff. So get lots of bits and bobs there. The idea is you buy a bag for a set amount. It used to be £7. Haven't been here for about 18 months, so might be different, and then you can just fill that bag with whatever is in there. There are some sewing stuff and some other stuff sometimes that you have to actually buy, but it's at very reduced cost. Anyway, as I've got a bit of time this week, I thought I'd take a trip over here and have a look what there is. So I'm going to try and take a little bit of filming in there, but it is very cramped and very tiny. So I'll see what I can do. What did I get? Well, I got some very random things. I got a few of the plastic wallets because that's how I store my patterns. This is odd, but my dog's name is Mickey, and they had loads and loads of old record singles, you know, vinyl singles, and on the top was this one. Do you remember this one? Tony Basil, Mickey. Hey Mickey, you're so fine. I thought, I have to buy that. Obviously we got a dog called Mickey, so I've got an old single. We have still got a record player. This was a really good find. This is in really nice condition, the complete book of sewing. Now I haven't got a sewing book, I don't think, apart from the ones I had when I was a child. So really nice pictures, very inclusive, all sorts of many different things. So that was really good. That was the DK book of sewing, really hefty. I picked up a couple of patterns. These are ones that would have come free with a magazine. That Baz Mia set. It's got like a double layered cuff on the, could be another show top for my daughter, not sure. This one here, just this little drape top. And this, which is my favourite pattern. So that's amazing, a nice uncut version of my favourite pattern, in case anything happens to the other one, because I wear it out. So that was the sewing. I had to pay £1.20 for this, but it's a load of elastic, so I thought that was quite good. I got a couple of fat squares, not particularly nice patterns, but they're going to be useful for something, I'm sure. So those I got just a roll. They have loads and loads of cotton, but I'm always running out of cream, so got that. Then a couple of really random things. They have loads of biros, so I just got some biros. You can grab them as many as you like. They also got some old computer paper. Do you remember the paper that used to go on the computers with the holes? Now I have got some of this, but it's really useful for my grandson when he comes over just to do drawing. So I took a chunk of that. Got some labels, just 3 sheets. You see, you can take as much as you want, but I always feel, oh, I better not take too much. So I picked up 3 sheets. And the rest was just a couple of fabric-y scraps. There was some fabric there. It was mainly upholstery, so it was mainly curtain fabric. And then but there was a couple of interesting sort of scraps that I could use for even making cards and things like that. That's a bit like Hessian, just some bit of white, always need a bit of white for whatever, all sorts of things, and just this bit of strange stripy fabric. But these are the sort of things that are useful to have anyway. So that was it. So that was, you pay £5 for the bag, and then things like that were a bit more, so that was £1.20, so yeah, about £6.20 for the whole thing. So I was quite happy, especially with that book and my favourite pattern. Now, I don't know if you know, Adam from Adam Sews has released a PDF pattern this week to make some pouches. It's a set of 3 pouches. Now, he's a brilliant bag maker. He makes some fantastic things. So I asked him, I said, is it a beginner pattern? Do you think I can cope with it? So he said, yes, of course you can. So I had a go and I made 2 of them. I made the small one first. This was my first one. Now, I've made pencil cases before. I've made simple bags, but I've never done anything quite as, I want to say complicated, but it isn't complicated, but as structured as this. involving a few different processes that I'd never done before. But I didn't, apart from initially thinking, what on earth am I meant to be doing? I've made it, and I've never done any quilting before, but I managed to do a bit, whatever you call that. It's lined inside. He found the zip edges, used a continuous zip, which I have never used before. And I got some cheap ones off Amazon, and I really wish I hadn't, because it was a nightmare how you put the zip pulls on after. It's just awful. Anyway, I did it, and apparently he said you don't need to use a continuous zip as long as you get a really long zip. It doesn't have to be like that. But so I made the small one, and then I went on to make a bigger one, and I went a bit all fancy on this one. Actually, I used 3 different fabrics, and I quilted it again. I was getting carried away. And I also lined it this time with the ripstop fabric, because I wanted to use it as a makeup bag, and mascara tends to leak, doesn't it? Things like that. So makes it very rustly. But again, I had an awful Amazon cheap zip. Unfortunately, it was red. But anyway, I highly recommend this pattern, and I have a feeling that I'm going to be making a few more of these to give to family members for Christmas. This actually is a good size to hold my reading glasses, so it's actually quite a good glasses case, and especially using the fusible fleece, it's protective as well. So these are 2 patches I've made. Thank you very much, Adam. Definitely be using that pattern again a lot. Two more things. I'll say them quickly. One of them is the Sew Upcycle 22 challenge that ends on Monday. I've made 1 item already, something that I really been meaning to do for a couple of years. So if I hadn't had this challenge, I probably wouldn't have got it done. The other thing is a week tomorrow, we are going away to the Canaries for a week. So we should have a bit of sunshine. When I went to Florida, I picked up this dress in a charity shop, thrift store, charity shop, in a Goodwill, and it's this linen, blue and white linen. Now at the time I wanted to make a top out of it. I'm going to go ahead and do that for the Sew Upcycle challenge as well. I'm just going to crank out really quickly one of these tops. Last couple of times I've made this top, it's come too wide on my shoulders, so I'm going to bring it in a bit there and there. But I think this would look nice with, it even look nice with jeans actually, but I'm thinking more on my white linen trousers that I made back in the summer, or white shorts. So I'm going to hopefully get that done. So I've got 2 things to show for on Monday for the Sew Upcycle 22 challenge. The other thing I want to do for this upcoming holiday is just make something else light to wear in the evenings, or nice to wear in the evenings. Now, Adam from Adam Sews sent me this a few weeks ago. I really loved it. It's a nice viscose. It's got some amazing colours in it. So I really like to use this to make something, but at this point in time, I can't think what I want to make. I'm thinking about whether just to make a simple dress, because when I held it against myself to try and work out what to do, the way it sort of fell, it falls beautifully. So I don't want it to be a straight skirt. I'd like just a bit of volume in the bottom somehow. So I had that pattern, which I've never used before. That looks kind of simple. It is got princess seams down the front, so that might add a bit more time. I'm not sure. I've then got this one. This is, one of these promises 1 hour. And whether I would do something just a simple dress like that. That could be nice. I'm not sure, but I'd really like to get that done if I can. So I think that's it for me this week. Next few days in the next week, I'm going to might put out a video with my Sew Upcycle things on Monday. I've got my COVID jab this afternoon, so I'm not really looking forward to that at all, but it's the 4th booster. Do we do it? I don't know. Anyway, we're just having it done because we're off to the Canaries a week tomorrow. I might have said that already. Really looking forward to just a week away. Haven't been to this Canary Island before, so very much looking forward to that. Do a bit of walking, a bit of reading, and I'll probably tell you next week. But I've already sussed out some fabric shops over there. I'll talk about that next week. Um, so that's it. I'll hopefully be doing some sewing this weekend. Not sure what the weather's going to do. If it's showery, that's great, because that definitely means I can be in the sewing room. Thank you for joining me in my cluttered room today. I hope it wasn't too hard on the eyes. You can see I have to live with the double bed in the middle of the room, but we all have to work around a lot of things, don't we? We don't all have beautiful sewing rooms. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you next week, if not on Monday. Bye. Have a good weekend.